This is Morgan Hazelwood, back again with more writing tips and writerly musings. Today I'm here to share with you 5 writing tips for making fantasy seem real. So if you ask a group of writers how they approach any part of their writing process, you're gonna get as many answers as there are writers, and sometimes more. Today, I'm reviewing a discussion by a group of writers on how to make fantasy seem real. Now, no matter if you prefer to write a story based on reality with just enough fantastic elements to make your story work, or if you create your world from the ground up, or you do a little bit of both, and no matter if you're a pantser with no magic system, or a world builder who adds the characters later, or a white rabbit chaser till the end of the plot, when you look back and realize that everything happens in white rooms, or your approach jumps around from world to world, these tips for writing fantasy worlds should work to help you draw your readers in without invoking their sense of disbelief. Here they are, the top 5 writing tips for making fantasy seem real from the Balticon 52 panel of the same name. Tip 1, keep it internally consistent. I know, Morgan, you say this all the time. It's still true. Think about it this way. The effort used to invoke the magic in your story and the scope of the magic should match from spell to spell, no matter the scale. You don't want some huge elaborate incantation with all these expensive things to turn your shirt from white to pink when, it takes one word to end the world. Tip 2, look at the economics. If magic gives someone or some bodies an ability, someone else is gonna come up with a way to either counter it, sell it, or steal it. Tip 3, make sure your characters' motivations make sense. And not just to you, they have to make sense for them and for the world in which they live. Different norms and cultural expectations exist in different times, places, social classes, and worlds. Tip 4, avoid anachronisms. Just like a dollar bill in ancient Rome, you don't want to throw people out of your story with things that don't seem realistic for a certain technological age or location. Things like check the weaponry in your story for both the time period and the place. Stew takes 4 hours to cook. You're probably not going to cook some while backpacking. And one more thing. Even if you are right and that thing is possible and happened in that time and place in its real world equivalent, if most people don't think it could have happened, even if they're wrong, you're gonna pull people out of your story. You might just want to leave it out. Of course, there's a caveat. There's always a caveat. Ignore this tip when it comes to diversity. People in the dominant culture tend to paint everything in their history with a brush to match themselves. The real world isn't usually that compartmentalized. And tip 5, if you can't be true to a period, write around the edges. There are always fringes of society where the norms break down. If your character doesn't fit in, there's usually somewhere they can go, if they're willing to pay the price. How much are you willing to give to enthrall your readers with your world? These notes were from the Balticon 52 panel, making fantasy feel realistic. The panelists were Leah Cypress, Lisa Hawkridge, Brenda Clow, and Jean Marie Ward. Do you have any favorite tips for making fantasy seem real? Anything I missed? Feel free to comment below.
And that's all for today. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button and share it with all your friends. It goes a long way towards helping people find me. And I'll be back again next Monday with more writing tips and writerly musings. Bye-bye.